Hi, I'm Nid. I'm a wellnesspreneur and business consultant, and I'm here to support you in how you understand and bridge some of those business legally concepts into the wellness sphere so that you can hold a really safe space for yourself and therefore a better and more wonderful space for your clients and do more good. And in this video, I am going to be running through some of the common questions that seem to pop up when people have recently qualified into the wellness world. So this has come from a request of the wonderful Cora Guru, who helps mentor yoga teachers through the new world of the yoga teaching business. And in our chat, I had been asking her some of those common questions to try and help some of you who maybe are new to either yoga teaching, Pilates teaching, dance or fitness, but also other spheres. So that could be whether you're a naturopath or you're a nutritionist, or you work in some other area, let's say speech pathology, or you're a massage therapist. There's many other areas that it's important to think about yourself as a business when you have done this training. And the first thing that often comes up when you're doing these trainings is that you're doing it for your own personal journey, your own growth. It's something you're just really interested in learning about, and you're not really thinking about it as a career. And that's awesome. And that's definitely, I think, probably one of the best reasons to ever learn anything is because it's about your own self-growth. And that's because most of life is the journey of your own growth. But you also want to stop and acknowledge that one of the best ways to learn something is to teach. And that means that you're going to go out and practice if you really want to get the best out of what it is that you've been learning about. That means that you probably are going to become your own business, because even just a little bit of teaching on the side, 1 or 2 clients in a week, is going to be your own little business on the side of a regular job, or maybe it becomes your full-time business. So the first thing to recognize is that you're going to be a business, and that means that you need to be setting yourself up as a sole trader or somebody who is self-employed. That terminology sometimes changes according to different authorities. Basically, you are your own business. It can be your name. There are some basic responsibilities that we need to get on top of, and I have covered this in another video of mine, which is whether you're a contractor or you're an employee. But I'm going to recap them very quickly for you, which are the responsibilities that you have as your own business. And that is going to be to get a tax identifiable number. Now that depends what it's called in each country. In the UK, it's a UTR. In Australia, it's an ABN. So there's a variety of different acronyms as to what your unique tax identifying number is going to be as a business, and you're going to need to contact the tax authorities in order to get that so you're set up. And this is something you want to be putting on the documents when you're charging people. You want to put it on any of your terms and conditions, any of your legal stuff, any of your financial stuff. That's going to be a number that you have as a reference to show that tax identification as a sole trader. And that also means you may need to pay tax on the money that you're earning. And that could mean that you want to get an accountant in your area to help advise you as to how you file that and what business deductions you can claim. You may also be responsible, if you're completely self-employed, to pay your own pension or super. And that again will depend on your setup as to whether or not you're employed in some other capacity. You will need to consider registering for something like VAT, GST, whatever there is as a larger sales tax if you exceed a certain amount of revenue from this business that you're creating. And again, that's something you can speak with an accountant about as to what the applicable number is for the year that you're operating in, and whether or not your income is starting to hit close to those target numbers, and you might need to register. So those are your starting points of what you want to think about as a sole trader. Now, perhaps you're just thinking, but I'm just going to teach 1 or 2 people. I'm just going to teach, my friend and maybe my mum. And that's fine. Do you need insurance is often a question. And what kind of insurance do you need? Well, the first thing is, yes, you do need insurance. And you are going to be looking for insurance in the area that you are providing to people. So if you're a yoga teacher, you want to look for an insurer that provides yoga teacher coverage. If you're a massage therapist, you want someone who is going to cover massage therapy. as your service. And you want to talk to the insurer very clearly around what it is that you're providing and make sure that they're going to cover you, what the amount of money is that they're going to cover you for. If it's going to be just in person that you're going to be doing this, or if you're going to do it online, there might also be another question. And I do have separate videos, again, pointing to specific questions around your insurance if you're going to launch your business online. But effectively, that first point of just even having your neighbor around to teach them or to give them a massage in your home, you want to get insurance to cover you for that in case you do anything that that person doesn't feel comfortable with and they decide to sue you. You want to get coverage from an insurer that's going to protect you to whatever extent the insurer and your premium is paid for. And you can always ask that insurer, what does it cover? Can they explain it to you in a way that you understand? And you ask as many questions to make sure that you really understand it. Paint the picture of what it is that you're going to do to make sure that you feel like you really understand the coverage you're getting. What paperwork might you need for this new client of yours? Well, there's some simple things you might have been taught about in your course and your training. Firstly, you're probably going to have a health form. New client intake will ask them basic information, personal information, where they live, their age. Any emergency contact might be relevant for you in case they slip and hurt themselves, say, or they have a heart attack. You want to have an emergency contact. And then you might also ask them some basic health questions depending on what service you're providing will qualify the detail of questions you need. And that's what you want to think about is they need to be necessary questions that you're asking on the health form that are related to what you're providing, and also whether or not there's something specific that may invalidate your insurance. Say pregnancy might invalidate your insurance, or a known heart condition that you're not covered to practice with. You want to make sure those things are clear on your health form so that you know whether or not you can actually work with this client or not. Because if you can't work with them because you're not insured to, then you need to be able to say to them, I'm afraid I can't work with you, and suggest that they go to someone else. So that's the first thing, your health form. On your health form, you may want to include a consent for treatment and also a waiver in terms of any liability. And this has been covered in another one of my videos. A waiver is your client's actively waiving a right to sue you should something happen in their sessions with you. This is limited to an extent by certain laws, but what you do want to do is get them to think about their own responsibility in working with you. And that's really what your waiver is there to do, is to say to them, you are responsible for yourself. You are responsible to speak up should you be concerned during our session, and to let me know if I need to change or address something while we're working together. You also will want to have something around your terms of working with them. So these would be your client's service terms and conditions. And this would set out something around payment, cancellation, refunds, and again, anything to do with what you're willing to be liable for in working with them. If you're working online, you might want to set something out around how the online works and the safety of being online. But effectively, if we're just thinking about your neighbour coming back around to your house to work with you, or a small class of a couple of friends in your home, or a small hall, you just want those key terms around. If you have to cancel because there's a flood in the hall, what are you going to do? You're not going to be responsible for that, and you'll notify them and obviously refund them or try and rearrange the session afterwards. So just thinking about those simple things that may happen in your client terms when working with somebody. You'll want to have something about your management of their personal information, and that is a privacy policy. And that privacy policy wants to set out what you're collecting in terms of their personal information, why you're collecting it, what you're going to do with it, how you're going to communicate with them, and how you're going to delete it or destroy it, and any of their rights that they may have in order to know about that information that you've got. You may want to have a website, and that's fine. You don't need to have a website. Think about it being a portfolio, a place where you are putting yourself up and available to people. And you may just decide that you don't need to have a website because you're going to have a Facebook page and an Instagram page account, and that those are going to be your ways in which you show people what you do, and you're going to encourage them to book and work with you through those medium. So you don't need to have a website, you don't need to have social media. It just depends about how you want to show people what you do, and really think about it as being your portfolio, your CV, where people can come and learn about you and discover more, and then potentially book to work with you through those platforms. And those platforms do want to have some degree of those T's and C's around how you work with people, around booking, but also you'll want to have something about your management of their personal information, and that is a privacy policy. So that's it for this video. The next lot of questions that came through from our newly qualified teachers were about money stuff, so we're going to be looking at that in next week's video. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube videos if you find them helpful and you want to get them before I manage to remember to post them and share them around. And do make sure you hit that little bell button if you are wanting to make sure you get that notification. You can also subscribe at my website to my emails to find out the latest updates of my courses and programs and templates as they're released, which you can use to support your business, and hopefully get in touch with me for that free 20-minute consultation that I offer if you've got those initial queries around your business, so that we can just run through maybe your specific questions that you feel come up from these videos or haven't even appeared in the videos yet. Do let me know any of those questions, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks a lot.